Good morning to all. So let's begin with today's class. Today we are going to start with using slices for list modification. Now what is this? Using slices for list modification. You already know about list slicing, that is extracting slices or parts from a list, or extracting items from a list based upon a certain range which is given in the form of start index and stop index. Give me a moment. I'll just take my. I forgot to take out the stylus today. So start index, stop index, and skip value is given, based on which we can extract data from our already existing lists. Now we already know that lists are mutable objects. Hence, it is possible for us to perform individual item assignments in lists. We can do that, right? And we can also replace portions of the lists, that is some list slices, with sequences. And with sequences, what do you understand? If I talk about sequences, sequences refer to strings, lists, or tuples. Understood? So sequences refer to lists, strings, or tuples. If you want, you can replace any list. So I wrote lies there. List slice with any valid sequence. Any valid sequence object. For example, if I have this idle here. Suppose I am taking numbers and I am taking few values here, right? And I am writing here numbers, and I want to replace some value. So firstly, what I'm going to do is just copy. Just wait. So this is my list, as you can see over here, and within this list I'm going to just number the values. So these are the values which I have numbered: positive indices and negative indices. Now to replace a list slice, suppose I write here numbers 2:4. When I say 2:4, it refers to which elements? 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Why? Because it's going to take up these two indices. 4 is exclusive, so it will start from 2 and end at 4 minus 1, that is 3. So the list slice is going to be what? 3 and 4. If I want, I can replace it by any sequence, right? So how is it going to work? It will become something like this. We'll check it out. I write here numbers 2, 4 equals A, B, C. And now if you check numbers, you can see that these two elements are replaced by a sequence. That is, it now becomes like this: 1, 2, because we had to replace 3 and 4. Okay, so 3 and 4, this will be replaced by. Now, because it is a sequence, that is a string, and it contains how many characters? 3 characters. So each of these 3 characters will form 3 different elements of the list. And this, the last one, because 4 is not touched. As 4 is the stop index, it is exclusive, right? So it had to start from 2 and it had to end at 3. And these two were the elements which are replaced. So these two parts, it contained 3, 4. These 3 elements are actually in place of 3, 4, and after that 5 is inside. 5 is already there in the list. Only this list slice is replaced by another sequence. So we can also do this for tuples. Like if I want to write, I can write numbers 2, colon and blank, that is or everything till the end of the list has to be, starting from the index 2, has to be replaced by something. Suppose this. Now what is there in the list? My list has now become like this. This is my list numbers, and in this, starting from 2, I need to replace all the values till the end. So it will be 1, 2, and what are the values here? 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is going to be the list. Had it been one more element after 13, then it would have been like this. That is, this whole slice, starting from this whole slice is replaced by this slice. Right? Let's try it out and see. I write numbers 2 colon blank equals, I'm giving a tuple over here, and you can see like this. Okay, just give me a moment, students. Sorry for the disturbance, students. Right, so this is how you can replace any part of a list, and you can also replace this with any list item as well, like numbers 3 colon 8, and I'm going to replace it with another list and let that list be, and you can see that firstly this list function is going to convert colors into a list, and then this list will replace values starting from index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 starts from here and till 8. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 is not there, it is beyond this. It's not a valid index in this list, so it is going to only, as I told you, that these only act as boundaries for the list. Hence, starting from the index 3 till the end of the list, it will replace all these elements by colors. Right? So this is also one of the things which we can do in Python. So I'm going to just copy this here so that when I share this file with you, you can note it down. Next is working with lists using some list methods. So you can see there is one very important function here, that is append. Now what does this function do? This function is used to add elements of any data type to the end of the list. Okay, so this function is used to add elements of any data type to the end of the list. It accepts only one element at a time. So how does it work? Let's see. The syntax of using append function is list object dot append item. As an example, if I have a list numbers, right, and it contains these values, then numbers dot append, I can write anything. I can write 50, I can write hello, I can write 2.5, any element, any type of element you can append to the list. So it works like this. If I already have numbers over here, as you can see, and I'm writing here numbers dot append, and let me take any value like hello. We print that. So you can see that hello is added as a list item over here, right? Just I'm giving it here. And you can also add any element to the list. Now, so I'm going to create an empty list now. So let me open a new page and let's try adding elements programmatically. Add items to list. So I am creating another program over here where I will be adding items to the list. So I am creating a list here, a list, and a list is a user defined identifier, students. Okay, I have created this just because I wasn't getting any name, so I just named it as a list because list is actually a function. Although Python won't give me an error if I write list over there, but still because it's a function, hence I'm following good programming practice here. So I'm going to create an empty list for the time being using the list function, or I can also write a list equals blank. So that is a pair of empty square brackets with nothing inside, right? So this creates an empty list. Create an empty list. Fine. So this is, I have created an empty list and now I want to ask, what I want to do is ask elements one by one from the user, and the user is going to, and those elements are going to add it to the list one by one. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to take item equals, say, I have just given a single space over here, while item, and enter an element, and let's just suppose that the element is of type strings or characters, right? And a list dot append item, or I can do this, a list plus equal to item written within square brackets. This is for adding elements to a list, right? And once this is done, and once there is just a sec, instead of doing this I can just, I'm removing this and I'm using ANS, and I'm going to ask from the user whether user wants to add more. I continue adding items, and user will give the answer in yes or no. You can use any method whichever you want. I am mostly comfortable with this method, right? So till the time the user wants, and finally you can print the list. Let's run the program. Enter an element. So I'm entering one element here. Yes. Now you can see that I have entered elements of different type, but because I'm using only the input function, it converts each and every data into string format, right? Usually when we are adding elements programmatically, we try to stick to an identical data type only. That is, it should be either a list of numbers only, or a list of strings, or a list of course, Boolean only two values are there. So it could be a list of any other thing. So usually it is either a list of complete numbers or complete single characters or complete strings, right? Programmatically when we are doing it, because there is no, we can use the eval function, that's not a problem. So we will be using an eval function over here and try to add elements, and then we'll see what happens. So enter an element. I'm going to enter the same elements again. I'm entering hello. Okay, name hello is not defined, it's saying something. Okay, yes, that's because hello is already a string, hence it is just giving me an error over here. I'll start with something else, maybe 2.5. I'm writing true here. Yes, I'm writing false here. Yes, and I'm going to add 46. Now it ran without a program. So when it comes to a string, it is giving me an error. So some of the other error will be there. You have to include proper code inside this, right? To make sure that it doesn't happen. But normally we do it for most cases. 95% of the cases it is dealing with the same type of elements within a list, right? So you can, if you normally, if you are creating a list of numbers, you can simply write integer, or you can write float also, because even if you are entering any integer value, it will be only represented as 0.0, right? So you can do this. So this, what happens here, it asks for an element from the user, appends it to the list, that is adds it to the end of the list. The append function adds elements to the end of the list, as you have already seen here. Enter element. So I'm entering 45, I'm entering 65, and you can see that first all the elements are in a proper order. That is, first 45 was there, so 45.0 is the first element, then 65, then 42.5, then 63.5. So append function, it appends the elements in a particular order, that is first come first serve order, right? So whosoever comes next is just going to be added to the end of the list, right? So this is the work of your append function, and it accepts only one element, students. Now I had created the program in the script mode, but now if I print a list, you will be able to see all its values. So I can make changes in the interactive mode over here. So if I want to add, suppose I am adding two values, I'm trying to add two list values here. It gives me an error. What is the error? Type error. Append takes exactly one argument. How many are given? Two are given, right? Going to copy this so that you people understand. Yes, so append takes exactly one argument only, right? So you will see how this append function is different from an extend function, which we will also be studying in lists. What does extend function do? It just adds multiple list items or elements to the list. If you try to add, you can do it this way, that is append 78 comma 90, and just pay attention here that these two values are inside the square brackets. That means it is a sub list. So now if you print a list, you will be able to see that 78 and 90 are added to the list, but as a single list item, right? So I will show this to you. Let me paste it here. Now watch it very carefully, students. Here you see 78 and 90, they are in the form of a list object, right? So here also they are added as one single list object element, added as a single list object element. So this is one element, considered as one element when you are writing the indices 0, 1, 2, 3, and this will be 4, and inside 0 and 1. If you have to access 78, you will write it like this: a list, firstly the outer index, that is 4, then the inner index, that is 0. This will give you 78. Understood that? So append function accepts exactly one element from the user, right? Fine. Next, let's come to the next one, that is del. Del function. Del, it is a keyword given here, but it is actually a function. So what is this del function used for? Let's see. It is used for deleting one list item, deleting a list slice, or deleting the entire list. How? Let's see it. Let's check it out directly over here. So you have a list. Now you write del a list 3. You will not see any output, but when you print a list, the fourth element has been deleted. How? Let's see that. So I'm just going to copy this. This is a list, and I am writing here so this is a list. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? I'm considering this as 4 only, and inside it is 0 and 1. A list 3 is which element? This element, 63.5. So that element is removed from the list, right? And what you see over here, all the list indices are adjusted automatically. This element, which was the fourth element, it now becomes the third element within the list, because the third element is missing from here, right? So del function, it is used to remove one element. It is used to remove a list slice also, like I write here, or I'll take that one, numbers. I'm again using a list comprehension for I in range 1 comma 21, right? And this is numbers, and I'm going to write here del numbers, and let me try deleting it starting from 3 to 9. That is starting from 3 to 8. What is index 3? This I'm starting the indexing here. This is 0, 1, 2, 3. So starting from 4 to the index 9. So that would be, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is starting from 4 to 10. These elements will be deleted. Let's check them out. You can see here, okay, 10 is there, fine. That it will always, 9 will always be excluded, yes. So let's check it like this: 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is 4. Then I'm counting it through the index, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the elements which are removed from the list: 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, because 9 is exclusive. So it will start from index 3, end at index 8, and remove these elements from the list. So you can see that between 3 and 10, all elements are deleted. I'm copying these also. Right? So it is used for deleting a list item, a list slice, and also the entire list. If I write here del numbers, and if I now print numbers, numbers is not there. So it is used for deleting the entire list as well. I hope this is clear to everyone, right? Next is pop. What is a pop function? This function is used to delete an element from the list, but it also returns the deleted element. In the previous case, that is in del, in the del function, as the del function was involved, nothing was returned. This was where the del function was executed, but nothing is returned here. It simply removes the list item or list slice or the entire list. It doesn't return the deleted item. But the pop function is a slightly different than this. The pop function returns the deleted element. Let's see its syntax. It is used in this way: list object dot pop, okay, and within this you give index. And just mark this, this is an optional argument index. Why optional argument? Because this index, even if you don't send index, the function will execute. For example, if I write here a list dot pop, simply I have written pop without any arguments, this will delete element with index -1. That is the last element, right? Pop is simple pop without any arguments. It is going to delete the last element of the list, which has the index -1. And if you write a list pop, this will delete fifth element, that is with index 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is which element? It's the fifth element. Position is 5, but the index is 4. Always remember this. Index is always 1 less than the position. Got it? So whatever index you are giving, the position will be 1, that index plus 1. This will be there always, right? So let's check out the pop function, students. How is the pop function working? So I have numbers. Okay, numbers I have deleted. I'm going to write a list. This is my a list function, and I'm writing here a list dot pop. We always use it this way. In case of del, you used to write del first and then the name of the list and then the list slice or the index of it, right? But here we are going to write it like this: pop, and simply I'm going to write this so you can see the element which is popped or deleted. It is the last element, which is a list object. Now if you check a list, it contains only 3 elements. But now if I write a list dot pop, I write 1, 0, 1, 2. So which element will be deleted? 65.0, and a list will be this. Right? Is this clear to everybody? And what if I try to pop any element which is not there in the list? Like for example, I am giving index 10. It will give you an index error that pop index out of range. If you try to delete any element which is out of bounds or out of the uh, last, it's beyond the two edges of indices, then it is going to delete that. And if you give a negative index, it is going, and if that negative index is within this range, that is, for example, over here, yes, let's check out this A list, the previous A list over here. I'll be just copying this at a suitable location. This is A list, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply write the indices. If I write A list dot pop -9, does -9 come within this range of negative indices? No. So here it will give you an index error. If I write A list dot pop -4, this is correct because -4 is a valid negative index of this list. If I write pop 3, that is also correct because 3 is a valid positive index within the list. So if you are providing any index item, any index value which is not there in the list, it will give you an index error. Got it? So that is pop. Let's come to the next one, making a true copy of a list. Uh, this is going to be a very handy topic for you, making a true copy of a list. Now what do we understand by true copy? Let's see it here. Suppose you have a list A which contains 1, 2, 3, and you write B equals A. That is, you want to create a copy of the list A. In the memory, actually what happens is A is already this list which contains 3 pointers. Each of the pointers are pointing to 3 different integer values, right? And over here you have B equals A. So what will happen? Simply B will be created, which is another identifier, and it would be simply pointing to this same list object. You make changes in A, it will be reflected in B. You make changes in B, it will be reflected in A, right? So in order to make a true copy, you need to do it this way. B equals list A. Only then there would be two identical copies of the list. And you can see it like this because 1, 2, and 3 are integer values which appear only once in the memory. So a separate list object is getting created, but they will contain pointers to these same integer objects here. But you can change, if you make changes in B, it won't be reflected in A, because if suppose you are writing here B1 equals 5, 1 is this one, 0, 1, 2, right? So if you want to change this location, only thing which will happen is this association will be broken. And this would be pointing to some other memory location containing 5. ये change नहीं होगा आपका, right? So this is what a true copy of the list. Let's try them out over here. I have a list, right? And right now a list contains only 2 values. Let me create another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is A. And I write B equals A. Now I write B1 or B2 equals 40. If I print A, you will see the changes are reflected in A. If you write C equals list A. So now when you print A is also this, C is also this, and if you are making changes in C, let me print C. C is this, but what is A? A has not changed. Why? Because I created a true copy of A, right? So this is what is known as true copy of a list. Fine. Next, let's start with list methods one by one. What do we have the first? We have index. This function returns the index of the first occurrence of an element if it is present in the list, right? So index function returns the index of the first occurrence of the element if it is present in the list. For example, I have A over here and I write here A dot index 2. So what is the index? It is 1. Why? Let's see that. Now 0, 1, 2, 3. And how do we use the index function? It is also used in the same way. List object dot index and element. So it will return the index of the element if the element is present in the list. For example, if I write here A dot index 2, where does 2 occur? At which index position? At index position 1. So this will return me what? 1, right? And if the element is not present in the list, it will return a value error. So we'll see that over here. If I write here A dot index 99, it will give me a value error that 99 is not in the list. If the element is not present in the list, then this function returns a value error, right? So this is what an index function is. Now index function will always return the index of the first occurrence of an element, right? Say, I have, suppose I'm going to create another list over here, B. So you can see some duplicate elements in this list. I write B dot index 1. So it will always return only the first occurrence. Understood? So I will be getting only the first occurrence of this. If you need to change this, I mean, if you want to get the next occurrence, you will have to do it programmatically by removing elements from the list or assigning the list to some other list object which contains elements starting from the next index or so on. But index function will only give you this. You want to do that, we have another function, that is find function, which we will be seeing sometime later. Or normally searching in a list is very easy to handle with programming, so we can easily do it with programming, right? Right. Next is append function. I have already taught append function to you. So we'll quickly skip to extend function. Now what is this function used for? This function is used for extending a list. Okay, that is adding two or more elements which are already present in a separate list to the current list. How? Let's see. So we have a list here, that is B. We have a list B over here, or let me take a simple one, maybe A, and I'm writing here A dot extend B. Now when you check A, it has increased. What actually happens over here? We have A and B both, right? Let me explain this over here. Now what is B? This is B and this is A. Fine. And you are using it in this way. List1 dot extend list2. Right? So here list1 usage, if you see, list1 is A dot extend. You are writing B. What is A? A was already these values 1, 2, 40 and 4. Okay. This was A. So dot extend B, you just extended the list with B. So this is A and this is B. So you have to you have to keep in mind that the list object which is calling this function is list1. Okay, when you write A dot extend, it means A is calling extend function and B is the argument which is passed. So A will be extended. Changes will take place in A, right? If you check B over here, nothing has happened to B. B is the original list, but A has changed. Had you written it like this, that B dot extend A, then B would have been like B is this. After this, you would have found 1, 2, 40, 4. Then it would have been like this. So B would have changed, but A would have remained the same, right? So it always depends upon this statement which you are writing. This side, this list object will change, whereas this will be unchanged, right? So this is the extend function. Now the difference between extend function and your append function is, extend function is used for adding more than one elements to the original list. So the same operation, if I do it using both extend and append, you will see the difference now. Let me take a fresh list L1 as A, B and C, right? And let me take L2, which is D, E, F, G. Fine. So we have these two lists. So I'm writing here L1 dot append. If I write L1 dot append L2, what will it give me? You can see it is like this. That is D, E, F, G is added to L1 but as a single list object, right? Again, let me make changes to L1. And now I write L1 dot extend L2. So now if I print L1, you will be seeing that D, E, F, G are added to L1 but not as a separate list item. Okay, as individual list elements. So this is the difference between append and extend. Understood? Append function is used to add only one element to the list, whereas extend function is used to add multiple elements to a list. By the name itself, it is clear that extend function is only extending the list, that is adding or expanding the list so that it accommodates more elements, right? So with this, I conclude today's class, students.